StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskara, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, where we learn not only the significant events of the past 24 hours, but also how to develop skills for solving preliminary questions, because here is where many students lag behind. So without any ado, I would like to tell you that I provide the notes of whatever I teach here on my Telegram channel by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. You can find all the notes that I provide here only. Other than this, if you want to be in conversation with me with respect to the UPSC examination, you can do so with the help of my Instagram channel as well. These are the many things that we have to cover today. Last time I asked you a practice question with respect to the first event, and we are going to solve that question together. I will take the names of those students who have answered it correctly by the end of this segment. After that also, I will give you a practice question for the next class. So let's move ahead, but before that I would like to inform you that from 11th of August we are launching our batch. This batch will be the P2I batch, that means prelims, mains and interviews, and these batches will contain or consist of those specific things that are needed for UPSC 2024. Prelims test series, mains test series, daily answer writing practice, current affairs module, everything will be covered with the help of this. So mains residential program is also one of the important things here. That means if you qualify prelims 2024 and you are a part of this particular batch, you will be invited to the StudyIQ campus, where you will prepare for the mains examination without any extra charges. This will be a 4-month period, and after that we will have an arduous program for the interviews as well. This costs just ₹70,000, but if you use the code PDLive, it will be made available to you at 29,999 only. Let's move ahead. India and South Africa established their diplomatic relations in which of the following years? The years have been given. I would like to tell you that because of apartheid, India wasn't able to fully establish its relations with South Africa, and the cultural, diplomatic and sporting relations were developed between India and South Africa only in the year 1993. So option A will be the correct answer. Recently it was announced that the Prime Minister will go to the BRICS summit that will be hosted by South Africa in Johannesburg, and the dates will be from August 2022 to 24. So the thing is that earlier there were rumors that the Prime Minister, following the footsteps of Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia, will not attend this particular summit. But recently we are seeing that China is trying to dominate BRICS. So Prime Minister of India will definitely join other BRICS countries there. The two nations' diplomatic, cultural and sporting ties were restored in 1993. The year South Africa ended its apartheid policy. Also in May 1993, a cultural center was officially opened in Johannesburg, so to have cultural relations, business and economic cooperation, defense, culture, health, human settlements, public administration, science and technologies. These were the certain areas where India and South Africa started cooperating. Also with respect to defense, we had a tie or a partnership in 2005 as well. Since then, 2005, we are cooperating on the defense structure as well. The Red Fort Declaration on Strategic Partnership, which was signed in 2010, paved the way for strategic partnership between India and South Africa. India is South Africa's second largest trading partner in Asia. Who is the first? Any guesses? Yes, China. China is the largest trading partner, but India is South Africa's fourth largest import partner and fifth largest export partner. The economic relations have grown if we compare the years 2015-16 to 2021-22. In 2015-2016, it was just $10 million, but $10 million from there we jumped to $16 to $17 million. Still we have a long way to go. While the majority of diaspora that is of Indian origin, it is in the African continent. But South Africa is the second largest home for Indians. Remember that. Moving on. With respect to the whip in the Indian parliamentary system, consider the following statements. The importance of a whip can be inferred from the number of times an order is underlined. That means how many times an order has been underlined. That shows us the importance of whip. A 3-line whip is the strongest, employed on important occasions, such as the second reading of a bill or a no confidence motion. And rebelling against a 3-line whip, this one, can make the lawmaker lose their membership of the house. So what do we have to see? We have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. In Indian parliamentary system, a whip can also be an order and also be any designated person who directs the other lawmakers to follow a line, to follow the party code. Okay, and here we are talking about the written order. So how serious is a whip or an order is looked at by the number of underlines we see in that order. First line, first only one underline is there, that is a one line whip. Here it is necessary when any party wants their lawmakers to vote for something, or even if so they want to abstain from voting, they can do so. The most important and the strongest one is the three line whip. We have one line, second line and three line. And third line whip is the most important and the strongest one. And recently, the BJP government has sent a three-line whip to all its lawmakers to be present between certain dates so that the passing of the bill can take place. And the three-line bill, as it is the strongest one, then if any member is going against that particular whip, they can lose their membership because it shows that their ideology and their policy mindset is not matching with the government of which they are a part or the party of which they are a part. So that is why they can be charged under the anti-defection law. So first statement on that very matter is correct, second is also correct, and third is also correct. How many are correct? All three will be the correct answer. BJP has issued a whip to its Lok Sabha MPs to be present in the house between 7th to 11th of August. A whip may refer to both a written order which is given to a member of the parties, and any Indian party can do that, as in it's not just the government but any party can do that, or to a designated official of a party who is designated to provide certain directives such as whip. This comes from the British practice of whipping in the lawmakers. It may require that the party members be present in the house for voting. They have to vote in any sort of manner. That means they have to toe the line of the party. This is what a whip is all about. And the importance is, of course, known through the number of underlines. One line whip is usually issued to inform party members of a vote, and it also allows them to abstain in case they decide not to follow the party line. It's not very strong. Second is two line, which directs them to be present during the vote, and a third line whip is basically called for certain very special occasions such as second reading of a bill or no confidence motion, and it places an obligation on the party member to toe the line. And that is why it is important and very serious, the three-line whip. Rebelling against a three-line whip can put a lawmaker's membership of the house at risk. They can be charged under the anti-defection law by the speaker or the chairperson, speaker in case of Lok Sabha, chairperson in the case of the Rajya Sabha. Exception is when more than a third of the legislators, they vote against a directive, effectively splitting the party. So this is an exception to the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution, that is the anti-defection law. Consider the following states: Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana. How many of the states given above is or are considered to be highly affected by left-wing extremism? What is left-wing extremism? It is basically an ideology in which the members try to overthrow the constitutionally established government, and generally they target government symbols. In India, most of the times we see that tribals are at the receiving end of such movements because more than often they are called to be the informants of the government. So that is why there are many regions in India that are affected by left-wing extremism, or we call them Naxals in India. It is, of course, it is synonymous with Maoism. So if you go to the website of the government, then Ministry of Home Affairs, then you will see the names of certain states which are considered to be highly impacted by left-wing extremism. Some are moderately, some are marginally. But if you go to the website, because I have taken this information, latest updated information from the government's website, we are appearing for a government exam, so we have to refer to the government websites only. So Maharashtra is one of those states, even Kerala is one of those states, Telangana is, but not Tamil Nadu. although left-wing extremism has been tamed in many of these states. So 1, 2, 3, 3 only will be the correct answer. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has went to Odisha, Bhubaneswar, and also taking in the consideration left-wing extremism over there as well as disaster management. These are political ideologies and groups that advocate for the significant societal and political change with the help of a revolution. This could be armed revolution, and they target government institutions, law enforcement agencies, private property, or further their agenda. And it all started in India since 1967, uprising in the Naxalbari, West Bengal. If you look at this particular map, this will show you that Jharkhand, many of the areas of Jharkhand are extremely affected, highly affected. Chhattisgarh, highly affected. Moderately affected, we have West Bengal, of course, highly affected West Bengal as well. Bihar, Telangana, Odisha has all the three highly, then marginally, moderately. As you can see, Tamil Nadu is marginally affected, although this does not appear to be highly affected in the government website. Karnataka, Maharashtra, all these are the states which are impacted by left-wing extremism. Certain areas of Madhya Pradesh and even certain regions of Uttar Pradesh over here are impacted by left-wing extremism. Now, to curb all this, the left-wing extremism division was established under the Ministry of Home Affairs in the year 2006, and that was to impact effectively what seems to be capacity building in order to help the communities to develop amongst themselves capacity to deal with such Maoist activities. So there is a nexus between the local tribes and the government as well. Union Home Ministry stated that the violence that is related to left-wing extremism has come down by 76% if we compare it by the year 2010 and 2022. These two are the years that have to be compared. Moving on. With respect to Poshan Abhiyan, consider the following statements. The focus is to lay emphasis on nutritional status of adults and girls, pregnant women, and lactating mothers only, and it was launched on 8th March 2019. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? See, UPSC can give you data in such a manner that it will confuse you. Here, data is given, but some of you may have read about that it was launched on the Women's Day, but you may not be very sure about the year. So, in order to create distraction and confusion, more than one data can be provided in one particular statement. And in order to deal with such things, you have to make sure that you revise things that you have already read. As the Poshan Abhiyan talks about curbing malnutrition, providing proper nutrition to the human body. And the human body starts getting developed inside a mother. So what happens that the first is to focus on nutritional status for adults and girls who will be future mothers, then pregnant women, lactating mothers, and also children between the ages of 0 to 6. Okay, so first statement, because of the usage of the word only for that very matter, is incorrect, because here it should also be children aged between the years of 0 to 6. So first is incorrect, and it was actually launched on 8th of March. That is correct, but it was the year 2018 and not 19. So this makes the second statement incorrect. It was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister from Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan. Okay, so both the statements are correct. Both the statements are incorrect. So neither one nor two will be the correct answer. There has been a data that has been provided to the Parliament by the Union Minister that shows that according to National Family Health Survey, the prevalence of stunting, that means low height for age. Stunting means low height for age. It has reduced to 40.9% in 2019-2020. If we compare it to the year 2014-15, back then it was 43.8. Marginal difference, but still there is a difference. The prevalence of wasting has also reduced. What is wasting? Wasting means you can say low weight, or if a child is too thin for their height. So, too thin for their height. So that has also reduced to 23.2% from 27.4%. Okay. So this is what it should be. Remember, because sometimes we forget about certain things. If you provide data, you will get a lot of help through it. Now, Poshan Abhiyan was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. I have already introduced you with these data. The focus is to have a basic emphasis on the nutritional status of adolescent girls, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children from 0 to 6 years of age. The targeted approach is there. That means it's a mission-based approach to reduce the level of stunting, undernutrition, anemia, and low birth weight in children. Also focus on adolescent girls, pregnant women, lactating mothers, holistically, whatever addresses malnutrition. Consider the following statements. Asian and African buyers, they have shifted their exports to Brazil from India. Okay, then that means they were earlier getting their exports of sugar from India, but they have now shifted to Brazil. Cultivation of sugarcane in India dates back to the Vedic period, and Maharashtra is the leading producer of sugarcane in India, followed by Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka. See, these kind of questions can be asked more so often, and these are so dynamic in nature that you have to be continuously updated with current affairs. There is always a tussle between Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh who will be the first. And recent data shows that there is a new revelation. So how many statements given above is or are correct? It has been found out that sugarcane was in a variety. It was grown since the Vedic ages in India. So this is correct. Second is correct. Although we can talk about sugarcane being, known from a country known as New Guinea, that is Papua New Guinea. But in India also, in a form, it was cultivated during the Vedic ages, since the Vedic ages. And recently it was found out that India's exports to different countries as compared to the Latin American countries is getting challenged. Specifically, Asian and African buyers have started getting their sugar from Brazil and not India. India does send it to Bangladesh and certain other important countries of Africa, Sudan, but we are losing from Latin American countries. They are getting more surplus, but still we have enough for our domestic needs and also the surplus. Maharashtra is right now the leading producer of sugarcane, which is, of course, this is a new data. And earlier it was Uttar Pradesh, but now it is followed by Uttar Pradesh in the second position and Karnataka in the third position. What happens is that top 5 states you must know in any category, because UPSC can now go beyond the top state, the one top state. Okay, so how many statements is or are correct? All 3 are actually correct. All 3 will be the correct answer. The center has recently said that we have enough for domestic consumption, the sugar. And sugar cane is from the family Graminae, and it is grown in such countries which are actually present in the between the latitudes 36.7 degree north and 31.0 degrees south of the equator, basically tropical and subtropical zones. And it originated in New Guinea. Okay, Papua New Guinea. Also, here it is crossbred in India with some wild sugarcane to give its commercial form. Sugar production is led by Maharashtra, then Uttar Pradesh and finally Karnataka. India mainly exports sugar to Bangladesh, Malaysia, Sudan, Somalia and the UAE. And Asian and African buyers have shifted to Brazil now. Okay. So with respect to criminal defamation, consider the following statements. In India, it is dealt by the Indian Penal Code. It is not defamation to imply anything that is true about another person if the imputation is made or published for the public benefit. Also, the punishment for defamation is a rigorous imprisonment of up to 2 years or fine or both. Now we have to see how many statements is or are not correct. Recently, the Supreme Court has stayed the conviction of Rahul Gandhi over criminal defamation when he made a remark about the surname Modi. And this brings us to criminal defamation. There are 2 sorts of defamation, civil and criminal. Civil defamation is dealt under the law of torts and criminal defamation is dealt under the IPC, specifically Article 499 and so on. So in India, it is dealt by the Indian Penal Code. But how to decide defamation? There are also 10 exceptions, amongst which we have one exception here. It is not defamation when a revelation has been made in the interest of the public. The bigger question is, how do we define what is in the interest of the public or not? If I call a surname Chor or a thief, then how will it impact that caste as a whole? Is that in public interest or not? This is the bigger question here. So this is one of the exceptions which is also provided in the IPC. There are 10 exceptions to defamation. There should also be an intent. that if I'm making any remark about anybody, I have the correct knowledge that if I make this remark, this will harm that person's reputation or goodwill. And in India, according to the IPC, a goodwill or a reputation of a person is considered their property. Okay, so first is correct, second is also correct. The punishment for defamation is not rigorous imprisonment but simple imprisonment of up to 2 years or fine or both. See, UPSC will trick you with certain words such as all this. This has been replaced with simple. And if you're a very that kind of student who just wants to panic and do all the questions like that, then you can also get stuck here. So first is correct, second is correct, third is not correct, one only. Also remember that criminal defamation is actually bailable. That means you can get bail under it, and also non-cognizable. That means if any police wants to arrest you, they have to have a warrant. Then only they can arrest you. Remember that. Now, BJP MLA Purnesh Modi, he filed the criminal defamation case against Rahul Gandhi over the Modi surname remark, and he says that he welcomes whatever decision has been taken as of yet. So there are two types of defamation, civil and criminal. Criminal is dealt by IPC. The objective is to punish the wrongdoer so that they do not do it again. It is codified. That means there is a system under which it is provided. Legal provisions are from section 499 of the IPC to 502. And judgment is based on penal provision. Punishment is imprisonment or fine or both. Then civil defamation is dealt by the law of torts, and the objective is to amend the wrong whatever has been committed by the person. So this is punitive and this is non-punitive, to actually reform the mistake that has been done, rectify. This is rectifying in nature. Remember that, because prelims can ask you that as well. And it is uncodified. That means not a system is provided under this. There is no concerned provision with respect to civil defamation, and judgment is based on precedents and common law principles. That means what has been said earlier, according to that they can also give judgments, and compensation is provided under this. Alright, no imprisonment. So according to section 499 of the IPC, defamation can take place through if I'm speaking any words, showing any signs or visible representation, or saying things with the intent that my words will harm that person's reputation. And of course, I have to have the knowledge, intent and the knowledge, that if I make this remark, if I say something against somebody and I am holding a position of power and I have enough privilege to have a platform like this, if I say something against some person, it will cause them first mental harassment, and also the reputation may also get damaged. So it is very important to know your position in life. Anybody who is privileged specifically, that is why we expect more restraint and more responsibility for a person who has two things: reputation in the society and privilege of a platform. If somebody has a platform, then that platform should be used for the benefit of all and not for your own personal vendetta. Okay, so this is what the entire system is about. If a person is convicted of defamation under section 499 of the IPC, then it is specified, the punishment is specified under section 500 of it. The punishment is just simple imprisonment for up to 2 years, or you can give a fine, or you can do both. Okay, if it is asked for by the court, of course. Consider the following statements with respect to India-China. Among all the states, Arunachal Pradesh has the longest border with China. Over 60% border roads constructed in the last 3 years were in states bordering China. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? Yes. Now, this is a trick question. How? Among all the states, Arunachal Pradesh has the longest border. If you miss this among all the states, then you can say no, Ladakh has the longest border with China. But Ladakh is a union territory, erstwhile it was Jammu and Kashmir. So that makes the first statement definitely correct. If it wasn't mentioned among all states, then Ladakh could be the correct answer over here and not Arunachal Pradesh. So among all the states, this is what I'm talking about. Just reading stuff is not going to help you. Getting checked by a question will help you. So Arunachal Pradesh has the longest border with China. This is correct. And over 60% of the roads that have been built accordingly for India and India's neighbors, that means on the borders of them, 60% has been done with the borders India has with China. And of course, that is very evident. The relationship that India has currently with China is very strained and we are in turmoil right now. So in order to take care of a future situation that may arise if war occurs, then we have to be prepared infrastructurally. The first statement is correct. Second statement is also correct. Both 1 and 2 will be the correct answer. As you can see, China here shares a border with Ladakh, not Jammu and Kashmir anymore, Himachal Pradesh, through the Tibet region, autonomous Tibet region, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. So that is why it is important to secure all these regions, right? Arunachal Pradesh has seen the highest number or the most voluminous number of roads to be built in the past 3 years. That explains the situation that China has with India over Arunachal Pradesh right now. Arunachal Pradesh saw the construction of maximum road length, and after that we have Ladakh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and finally Himachal Pradesh. Okay, and here it should be now Ladakh. This is from the government's website only. They haven't updated it as of yet. Here it should be Ladakh. Ladakh shares the longest border, 1597, and then we have Arunachal Pradesh, then we have Uttarakhand, then we have Sikkim, and finally Himachal Pradesh. Okay, we have a 3488 kilometer long border, but China says that it is just 2000 kilometers, which is not true. Approximately 2000 kilometers, which is of course not true. But we cannot blame any country over this because we do not have a proper delineation or agreement over it. Okay, now let's move on to the practice question. The Archaeological Survey of India was centralized under, not established, Lord Curzon, Lord William Bentinck, Dufferin, Lord Hastings. Okay, now let me take the names of those students who have answered the last question correctly. You can also answer this question to get your names in the upcoming class. Okay, so Simran has answered it correctly. Mandeep, Yalalinga, Shubham Singla, Saurabh, Yash, Pooja Roy, Vishwajit, Om Sharma, Tejas, Vignesh, Komal, Padmashri, Abhishek, Priyadarshan, Prosit, Riya Thakur, Khushi, Robinson, Vivek, Sandhya, Aman, Kasturi, then Shambhav, Krishna, Himanshi, Aman, Abhi, Mansi. Others have also answered it correctly. Let me take the names of those as well. So yes, Just Fun, Shivani, Joydeep, Ishi, Temporary Creation, so Rishabh, Shubham, Vaishali, Birds, you have all answered it correctly. All the very best for this question as well. Thank you so much for joining me.
StudyIQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।